Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals for this Monday, October 16th, 2023. We'll begin by Ms. Kukla reading the preamble.
Thank you. Morning, my name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this Monday, October 16th, 2023. Let me see if you could flip the slide. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021, the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conduct its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak in a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak in a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Would you call the roll, please?
I believe that Ms. Roga is out this morning.
Yes.
So Ms. Olzer,
Present.
Ms. Brown,
Present.
Ms. Wilson,
She's here, but she's muted.
Wilson, Ms. Faith.
I am here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Can you all hear me?
Now.
Yes, now we can.
There we go. Okay.
Excellent.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4 members this morning. We should probably state to the applicants that are with us this morning that we have 4 members, so they run the risk of a tie vote. If there is a tie vote, then the decision of building and housing remains unchanged and the variance is essentially denied. So if you would like to postpone your case this morning to another date when we should have 5 members, please let us know and we will do so. Madam Chair, we do have 1 withdrawal this morning.
Okay.
Calendar number 23-102 regarding appealing the decision of City Planning Commission to approve a lot split at 3405 Clinton Avenue. Anita Meyerson is the applicant in this case, and she has requested a withdrawal as they have come to an agreement.
All right, great. No postponements?
And there are no postponements.
And anything we're bundling?
Thank you. No, I do not see anything.
All right, excellent.
We do have a council person on. The
Yes, I see that we have Mr. Griffin with us. So as a courtesy to City Council, when they are present, we move their cases to the top of the agenda. As it happens, this case is number 1 on the agenda, so that works out nicely. So Ms. Holzer, we'll begin with calendar number 23-166.
No problem. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Our first case is calendar number 23-166. This is at 3617 East 103rd Street. Mario Hosea, owner, proposes to change use of single-family residence to residential care facility for up to 5 people in an A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is 1. And with that, I will hand it over. Who are we having?
I think, Ms. Wilson, will you do the oath this morning for us?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So anybody who's going to testify in this matter, I will go ahead and swear you in. Please reply with "I do," your name and your address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Blaine Griffin. 601 Lakeside.
Thank you. Anybody else going to testify in this matter?
Do we have anyone else online? If you are on the phone, you hit *6 to unmute yourself. Do we have anyone in the room for this case?
Yeah, me, Mario Jose.
Okay, you need to step to the table, sir. Ms. Wilson, we have Mr. Hosea with us in the room. Have a seat. It's okay.
Perfect. Okay, I will go ahead and swear you in. Please reply with "I do," your name and your address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Mario Jose.
And your address, sir.
My address is 12709 Waterston Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, zip code 44105.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Okay, history of the property.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found a permit was issued in 1913 to erect a dwelling. There are no variances on file for this address, and we did see in our more recent history that a permit was issued to board up openings on the property, and that was in 2012. And that's all that we have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Great, thank you. Okay, sir. So you may want to swing around because you're going to face us
Okay.
now. So you are looking for a variance for a residential care facility for up to 5 people.
Yeah.
So give us the details. You want 5 people, what their ages are, their gender, what your staffing is going to be, your disbursement, or are you going to be giving meds? The whole, what your plan is.
Okay, so mainly, I'm a social worker in Cleveland. I volunteer like at the juvenile detention center, and a lot of people been coming to me like, we need residentials for juveniles. And I've been working with juveniles for a very long time. I'm 30 now, since I was 22. And I'm like, I have this house and it's fully furnished. And a lot of people was telling me like, hey, maybe you should, start a group home because I already work with individuals. So my first step was to get certified, get my certification, which I did, and then move on to the next step on getting the whole plan outlined as far as staffing, the meds, what I can and what I can't do. My mom, my grandma, they are in like they have it. So I have people that help me out. And I just want to help my community out other than just, putting this house on Section 8 or renting it out to somebody else. I just felt like this is an opportunity to be a service to Cleveland.
So you own this house?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you owned it?
Since 2021.
Okay. And you want to house juveniles? So what ages would that be?
Probably like from like 13 to 17.
Okay.
or even high functioning adults that need like a house they can stay at. Probably up to 4 people, 3 people at the, I don't think I'm gonna do 5, but it ain't gonna be like a house full of people. you know.
Okay. So you think 4 people is gonna be your
Yeah,
maximum?
Yeah, that's what we want max.
Okay. And how are you gonna work the staffing then?
So I'm working with somebody that he's in a group home, and he's kind of showing me how to orchestrate everything as far as the staffing. But getting the floor plans and seeing if I can get approved was my very first 2 steps. So I'm not going to move forward until I have the whole outline to run the facility properly.
Okay, well, that's the information you need to give us
Okay.
for today,
Okay.
okay? 1 second. Councilman Griffin?
Yes, yes.
Did you want to make comment now or wait till we gather a little more information?
I can make the comment now, and because I do want to make sure that I keep my assistant on the phone, and so that she can watch for your disposition. But I wanted to come on to register my voice in opposition to this project. There's just not enough information. As you just hear, I think they're still trying to figure out their business model. I think that, it sounds like they mean well, sounds like they want to do right things, but oftentimes good plans go bad when they're not all the way fleshed out. So I really want to make sure that we understand that. Number 2, there has been no community engagement. And as I told them when they called last week, which I really wish a lot of developers or folks that are proposing these homes will try to have conversations well before they try to present them to the board, to tell them that if there's no community engagement, I won't move this forward. Because nobody wants to wake up the next day and see a group home next door to them, and they don't know if it's children or children with disabilities, or if it's returning citizens or whatever. It's just it's these things could go many different ways. So I'm not in favor of it. I talked to some of the community residents, as well as I've told the folks for this facility, who called me, I think about Thursday or so of last week, and told them the same thing, that you have to engage the community and really make sure that the community has buy-in, even to the point that if the community can give support letters and other things. And I just haven't seen that.
Thank you, Councilman. Who is the CDC for this area?
The CDC for this area is Union Miles.
Okay. All right. You voiced some of my concerns as well. I think, sir, you're probably, what I would say is you're not quite fully cooked yet. So we're gonna go ahead and postpone your case. And what we're gonna have you do is you're gonna want to get in touch with the councilman and have conversation with him. And you're also gonna want to get in touch with the Union Miles Community Development Corporation.
Okay.
And they will help you with having community engagement. As the councilman noted, these are all things that are typical with when someone wants to open a group home. So you need to have your, the operations portion of your business plan.
Can I write this down?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're gonna want your operations plan, which are all the things that I asked you about.
Okay.
That's gotta be concrete before you come to us. You're gonna wanna have conversation with your councilman, which is Mr. Griffin. You're gonna wanna contact the Union Miles Community Development Corporation,
Okay.
because they will help you with your community engagement. So we're gonna give you, let's go 2 months, I think, probably, Liz.
All right. So we're looking at the middle of December.
Okay,
And the 18th is the week before Christmas.
yeah,
And then it would be pushed into January if you're looking at more time.
all right,
Let's do it. Let's do it this year.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take that December 18th,
Okay.
okay? All right, those were the floor plans you had up, right, Maurice, for this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so, so your floor plans look good. Looks like you had someone professionally draft that for you, right? So that's good. And you're gonna want to, all the credentials and the experience that you've had, you're gonna want to include that in your presentation,
Okay.
okay? So, just want to get you a little more pulled together before you come before us,
Okay.
all right? So we'll see you back on December 18th,
All right. Thank you.
okay? Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
You guys as well.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to calendar number 23-168. Ms. Holster?
Our next case is calendar number 23-168. Kevin Sullivan appeal. This is an appeal of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses for the denial of a tow truck application RLUOU 23-00024. Kevin Sullivan appeals under the authority of Section 76-6B of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and Section 329.02D from the decision of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses to deny application RLUOU 23-00024. And this was filed September 22nd, 2023. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you.
Thank you. For anyone who wishes to speak in this matter, please be prepared to give the oath. Thank you. I will state the oath. You will reply with "I do," your name, and your address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Kevin Sullivan, 1291 Ethel Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio, 44107.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter?
You know, go ahead, swear me in just in case. I'm here to support Kevin.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
State your name.
Emmanuel Velez, 1613 Plymouth Road, Cleveland, Ohio. I do.
Emmanuel, your last name again?
Velez, VELEZ.
Thank you. All right. I thought I saw someone from the Department of Assessments and Licenses. No? All right. Okay.
Madam Chair, we generally do not have history on these cases, but I would note for the record that this appeal very much, pretty much the same, was heard by this board on March 21st, 2022, and it was ratified on April 4th, 2022. Mr. Sullivan appealed under the same sections, charter and everything from the decision of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses to deny an application with a different number, LUOU 21-00187. This board granted his appeal. The notes state that after due consideration of testimony, specifically that the review by CPD came well after Mr. Sullivan was convicted of a lesser charge and his license suspension was terminated. Also due to Mr. Sullivan's age and lack of any previous violations with regard to substance abuse, the board finds that Mr. Sullivan should be given some grace and the decision of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses should be overturned and his license application should be approved. There is more testimony if you wanted more regarding the history, the license suspension and such.
I distinctly remember this case, and I'm pretty sure that I made the motion, but for the benefit of our newer board members,
Okay.
if you would like to perhaps just
Sure.
give them a summary or
All right,
fill them
some
in.
of the testimony, Mr. Sullivan's attorney, Henry Hillo, stated that the appellant was charged with a DUI in December of 2020. However, Kevin Sullivan pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of physical control and was convicted of said lesser charge March 19, 2021. At that time, the administrative license suspension was terminated immediately. He argued that the city denied his tow truck license based on an original charge and not the actual conviction. He stated that the letter issued by assessments and licenses referenced the reason for denial as being driving under the influence with a conviction date of 3/19/2021. Ms. Talton from Assessments and Licenses was present and stated that the application was forwarded to the Cleveland Police Department, who did their due diligence and sent a denial form back to License and Assessments. And then the decision was made by the commissioner. Chairwoman Britt noted the application for renewal was made and denied well after the appellant was convicted of the lesser charge. And the court allowed Mr. Sullivan to get his license back immediately after the conviction as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Right, and I'm glad you reread that because the timing of it was also a factor in the decision. Okay. So, Mr. Sullivan, do you have anything to weigh in, Mary?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is appealing an administrative decision of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses. The standard of review to be applied is whether the administrative decision was illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If the appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sullivan, you're back with us. So do you want to tell me what's gone on in the last year since we've seen you last?
Nothing, no arrests, no tickets, no anything, okay?
No moving violations, nothing.
And, the reason it says in denial was because of the police record room overflow or something to that effect, which I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, okay, me either.
Madam Chair, may I ask a
Yes.
question?
Yes,
Is, after the appeal was granted in 22, did you get a tow license?
Yes, I did.
So is this because you can't renew it? Why are you
Every year
here?
you have to renew it.
Thank you.
Okay. And I turned mine in, it was due March 30th. I turned it in before March 30th and I just got denied, whatever the date was.
just recently,
Yes,
and we're in October.
yes.
Okay,
Madam Chair, here's the documentation. It's also on the screen
okay.
regarding the language that Mr.
Thank you.
Sullivan referenced. I'm sorry, I don't have another copy of it.
Maurice, can you enlarge the letter, please? So our members at home can read it.
That's his letter. That was the other, that's what Liz read, that was a resolution from last time, so I don't think we need to see that.
No,
There it is, first page.
there we go. All right,
Here you go.
thank you.
And Madam Chair, I'll read it. Police records room workflow is not working properly. The applicant was denied by Sergeant Siridovic on 8/29/23 for the convictions listed in the Commissioner's review. And it mentions a code section 677A.15B, driving a motor vehicle while under influence of intoxicating liquors or drugs. A conviction under this subsection shall not bar the issuance of the license if the conviction occurred more than 5 years prior to the date of the application, or upon a recommendation of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses more than 3 years prior to the date of application. And section 677A.15C, felony in the commission of which a motor vehicle was used. And that is the extent of the language on the denied letter from Assessments and Licenses signed by the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses.
On September 15th of 2023. Okay. I'm going to open it up to questions or comments from the board.
I have another question. Madam Chair, I'd like for the appellant, Mr. Sullivan, to tell us what was the lesser charge that he was convicted of and if it was a felony or not.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna jump a little bit up on out of line. I would say, when I applied, I followed the city,
This year.
instruction. Yes,
Okay.
as in the past, they required I have to send a BCI check, which shows I have no convictions, okay? And you have to send a driving abstract, okay? I did what was required by the application,
Sure.
okay? I have no convictions, criminal convictions or anything.
No, I'm talking about in 20, when you,
The previous one.
when you were convicted of a lesser charge, is
Okay.
what you told us, not a DUI.
Yes,
I'd like to know what was the charge that you were convicted of at that time?
physical control.
And I'm asking, because I don't know what that is it a misdemeanor or a felony?
No, I cannot answer that. I would,
Sergeant Manuel Velez, police and president of the Hispanic Police Officers Association, that would be a misdemeanor.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Didn't know what your role was, so thank you.
Yes, I'm here as a friend.
Yes, well, that's nice.
But a friend with knowledge.
But a friend with knowledge. So that's a misdemeanor.
That's correct.
As testimony from Sergeant, did you
Yes,
say?
Sergeant Velez.
Sergeant Velez.
So, Madam Chair, I asked that question because if it was a felony, even though it wasn't a DUI,
Right.
then what is before us would, that letter would be grounds for turning down
Correct.
the renewal. But if it's a misdemeanor, the statute talks about a felony,
Right,
which is different.
correct. Which is sort of the situation we faced when we heard the case a year ago. Because he had been charged with the lesser crime, and his license was immediately reinstated.
Right.
So it seems like there's a lag of information.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would, I sort of remember this as well. I think I may have been on the board at that time, but I think I would support us being consistent in our review of the case.
Thank you. Ms. Holzer, Ms. Wilson, any comments from you? All right,
No comments from me, Madam Chair. Thank you.
okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Did Ms. Holzer indicate? I didn't hear.
Oh, Ms. Holzer, did you have a comment?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
Madam Chair, I move, after hearing the testimony, reviewing the denial letter that indicated, what did it say exactly?
Oh,
I-
I gave it to Liz.
That the records room overflow is not working properly, and therefore it appears that they could not identify accurately the actual conviction, whether it was a felony or misdemeanor. And having heard sort of a review of the board's decision in 2022, I move approval, or how would I say this? That we overrule?
I think Mary,
Approving the request.
yeah. What,
The applicant is appealing the decision, so we would grant the appeal.
we would grant the
Okay.
appeal.
I
Yeah.
move that the board of Zoning Appeals grant the appeal of the applicant in favor of award of a license.
Okay, great. I was trying to remember the phrase that we used for that.
Yeah, it's been a
So,
while.
yeah, okay. Could I have a second, please?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
Great, thank you. Would you like to call the vote, please?
Sure. Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Olzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Bay.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-168 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday, and we will send the appellant the letter. Please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for a copy of that letter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
How do you get the information corrected? Is that your question?
It's-
No,
it's-
go ahead.
Every year, am I gonna have to go through this? If I present correct documentation like I did again
Right.
this year?
Right. Do you have any insight on how he might go about getting that information corrected? So we don't have, I mean, we enjoy seeing you, Mr. Sullivan, but
Well, there are two ways, right? Obviously, you could present the information to the Commissioner of License and Assessments, right? They rely on a search of the record.
Well, I presented that. That you have to turn that in.
Well,
You put your.
you
Right.
just said this time you presented nothing, right? Because there were no new.
Why I had nothing new, but you're required to present your driver's abstract and your BCI background checks, which I did. So my thing is, I don't know why this city police records room, the overflow is kind of unacceptable.
Well, but you could make sure that the record there, is accurate. Maybe you present the same thing to them. We can't tell you any more than.
yeah,
Okay.
my question was, how do you get that information corrected? I don't have the answer to that. So, and clearly that's something that, keeps coming back up. So maybe Sergeant
That's right.
Velez might have some
We'll guide
insight.
you again.
I don't know, but we've taken care of you for today, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
And it was valuable that you have your friend with you.
Yeah, that was important
Thank you.
information to have.
Yes,
Done.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, you're all done. Thank you. All right, no other council people at this point, right? No one else has jumped on?
We have a representative from Ward 15, looks like Councilwoman's executive assistant.
Okay, for Councilman Spencer, we have someone here?
Yeah, I'm here to represent Councilwoman Jenny Spencer.
Okay, excellent. All right, those cases are next, as it happens anyway, so we'll begin with calendar number 23-169, Ms. Holzer.
Our next case is calendar number 23-169. This is at 2241 West 67th Street. John Michalik proposes to change the use from a 2-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling in a 2-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. Anyone who wishes to speak in this matter, please be prepared to give your oath. Reply with "I do," your name and your address. Do you swear? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to administer the oath. That's okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Okay, now you do.
I do. John Mahalik, 10408 Clifton Boulevard, Cleveland, Ohio, 44102.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak in this matter? Hearing
Uh,
none,
the
back
rep-
to you, Madam Chair.
One moment, Ms. Wilson. We do have the representative from Councilman Spencer's office.
Okay,
Hi, I will not be speaking on this particular agenda item, but thank you.
Okay, all
Okay.
right, great. Just wanted to make sure. All right, history of the property?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1893, there was a permit issued for a room addition. 1911, another permit was issued for a dwelling addition. We also see in the more recent history that rental registration has been issued to the property beginning in 2002. And as recently as March of this year, there is a lead safe certification that it is pending. And I think that's all that is relevant. Thank you. Oh, and there are no variances on file. I'm not sure if I stated that.
Okay, no variances. All right, legal standard, please.
All right, this one's a little different than normal. Madam Chair, members of the board, upon is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code and a special permit for remodeling to provide for more than 2 dwelling units. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the special permit, upon prescribing proper safeguards to preserve the character of the neighborhood, the board must determine, number 1, that the square feet of lot area to be allotted to each dwelling unit is in accordance with the area regulations included in Chapter 355, that the dwelling unit, number 2, that the dwelling units to be created will not be smaller than 2 rooms and a bathroom. Number 3, that there will be no exterior evidence that a remodeled dwelling house is occupied by more than 2 families, except such as may be permitted by the board. Number 4, that the building, when altered and occupied, will conform to all applicable provisions of the building and housing codes. And number 5, that there is garage or hard surfaced and drained parking space for at least 1 car per family on the premises.
Okay. What was number 4 again?
That the building would conform to all applicable provisions of the building and housing code.
Okay, that's kind of a big umbrella.
Yes.
All right,
Number 5 was the parking.
which doesn't surprise us, right?
Right.
Okay, all right. All right, sir. Would you like to go over the variance, the items in the variances that you need?
Yeah, whatever you
Tell
need
us
me to do.
tell us what's going on. What do you want to do?
I just want to, have it legally determined a 3-unit. I actually didn't know it wasn't a 3-unit. It already exists as a 3-unit. There's no change that need to be made.
When did you purchase this home?
Well, my brother and I purchased it through the auction website together back in like 2016 or 17. And then around 2000, we divided the properties, and this was one that I kept and he kept other properties.
Okay,
And when?
That was around 2000 that I became the owner, the sole owner. Before that, our company DCJM bought it, and I believe it was like 2016 or 17 from the auction, from the share sale. And when
okay.
we purchased it, it had 3 units.
No, I'm sorry. You purchased it together in 16 or 17. When did you become the sole owner? That's what I was asking.
2020.
20, got it.
Okay.
I believe that was when it.
That's good enough.
That's fine.
Okay.
You said 2000 and we thought that, I think.
Oh,
You
I
went
meant
back
20.
and-
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's
So-
I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be nervous.
Okay.
Don't be nervous.
Have you been renting it since then?
We have.
As 3 dwelling units?
Yeah, since the beginning. It is vacant right now because when we found out about this, that it wasn't a 3-unit, the tenant offered to move out. He was like moving out anyway.
So you have 2 tenants, not 3.
No, I had 3
Uh-huh.
tenants up until June or July of this year. then
And
the
now
one
you
tenant-
have
Now I just have two. I have the
That's
back
what I
unit vacant,
Okay,
which is concerning to me because the neighborhood's a little bit rough. And if people find out that that unit is vacant, I'm gonna have problems back there. And there really is no way to turn it into a 2-unit. It doesn't look like it was ever designed to be a 2-unit, which is part of why this is confusing. But I think that, what Liz had, Hula, is that how you say it?
Mhm.
It sounds like they built a room back there
Mhm.
100 years ago or something,
Yeah,
and that's what's going on, so.
it sounds like the building was a little cobbled together very, long time ago. I mean, we've got an 1893, right? Room addition
2011, or sorry, 1911.
and 1911, so,
And the garage that was in the back, that was dilapidated, so we took that down, so there is plenty of parking. Everyone had been parking in the parking lot in the back.
so you've got like a pad,
Yeah, there's a couple
Concrete?
pads. Yeah, concrete. Where the
Concrete.
garage was, there's a concrete pad, and then there's a driveway going all the way out.
okay, and you're drained. So what's the configuration? Can you,
By the way, Madam Chair, Rick Riccardi has his hand raised.
okay, Mr. Riccardi, do you want to chime in at this point?
Just wanted to state for the record that in 2020, there was a request for a certificate of disclosure to the Department of Building and Housing, which identifies a use by a company called Cleveland Real Estate Rentals LLC.
That is one of my companies.
And at that time, which was December 14th, 2020, the certificate was issued that identifies the use as a 2-family dwelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riccardi. So that's one of your companies, but you didn't have knowledge of that?
What did he say we did, it was?
It was a certificate of disclosure, recognizing the building as being a two unit.
To be honest with you, I did all of the manual labor and my brother did all the paperwork and stuff, so this is the first time, I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so
In
that,
addition,
yes, go ahead.
yes, this is Richard Riccardi. So in addition, the request, in the certificate of disclosure information, there's an appraiser identified, a mortgage company identified, title agency identified, all as Northern Title, and John Michalik is listed as the buyer.
Okay,
So he was a listed party on this, identifying it as when it was bought, it was identified as a 2-family, or at the time it was even being considered being bought, because the certificates of disclosures are required. They're part of the codified ordinances that title companies have to obtain them. And it was identified at that time, at the time of the potential purchase, to John McCulloch as a 2-family dwelling. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Riccardi. So is it 2 units on the first floor and then a second floor unit,
Yeah.
or, okay,
That's exactly right.
all right. So,
were the first floor units adjoined?
No, there's a, I mean, sort of, but there's a common area in between that has like a door to get in and then a basement hatch. So there's like, it's almost like a little tiny hall, kind of like this between them, but there's no way to really adjoin them.
all right, let me just.
I don't understand what I'm seeing here. Is this the first floor?
Yeah, Maurice,
Do you
can,
want me to show you on the drawing?
Yes, please.
yeah,
Okay, so. Is there another drawing? Yeah. Because that's the up unit. Okay, so this is the down front. This is the hall I was telling you about.
Oh.
Right here. If you go to the other slide, you can see This is the front unit, living room, bedroom, kitchen. And then right here at the back. That should say bathroom. Oh, no, this is flipped the other way. So the bathroom, here's the hall. The hall here, living room and bedroom.
This isn't helpful. What we need to understand is how the back unit attaches to the front unit on the
Right
first
here.
floor.
It's right here is where this hall is.
Uh-huh.
That's where it attaches.
And then what's the configuration of the back unit?
This is the back unit.
That is the back unit.
This is the back.
Oh.
The front unit's on the other slide, that's why it's confusing. The
Oh,
other, here's the front unit, here's that hall I was telling you about.
oh, thank you. That's much better.
Yeah, sorry. That's
Yeah.
confusing.
It was confusing, still is. Can you go back and let me see the front? Not, I'm sorry,
Oh,
just the
not me.
slide.
Sorry.
This is slide. We're just helping you get your steps in for the day.
And there's the whole house right there, if that helps a little bit.
Yes, so that little indentation is the hallway then, is that right?
No, I think the hall's like right here somewhere, but this isn't really drawn very well. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at that. So, like right in here somewhere is where the hall. Oh, no, actually, the hall's probably closer to over here. Like, I don't know, touch your screen. The hall is like right there somewhere.
Yeah,
And then instead of a door going down to the basement, there's like a hatch in that hallway that's about the size of this table. So there's like no way to really connect.
so that used to be probably an entrance to a root cellar.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, was exterior, originally probably exterior access to a root cellar, or does the basement run under both units?
I don't think it does. I think it just runs under the front
Front,
of the house.
okay, all right, so that would make sense.
But I'm
So
pretty
the
sure-
original structure would be the front unit, and that hatch would be access to the root cellar or the cellar underneath. Is the cellar underneath the front unit, does it have a cement floor at this
It
point?
does.
It does, so at some point, somebody poured cement in there,
Yeah, it
because
does.
it probably would have been just earth originally, given the date of construction.
So is your testimony that you bought it this way and that it was already individually metered? Is it,
Well, and this is how I should have known it was a 2-unit the whole time, because it's there, the downstairs is metered together and the upstairs is metered separately. So there are 2 meters.
Okay, so there's just 2
There's
meters.
just 2 meters, yeah.
All right. Okay. City planning, you want to weigh in on this?
Madam Chair, yes, Maurice Rowland, City Planning. In light of all of this information, the fact that it's probably been used as a 3-family for probably many years. There is adequate parking in the back. I think he meets most of the requirements here in variance number 2. So I would recommend approval on this. I think there's plenty of parking in the back. From what I could see when I was out taking pictures, I think it would be fine to approve this. As a 3-family.
And I'm just looking at the square footage of these units, and they all seem quite adequate, really. So, go ahead.
how did this come to your attention that you were in violation?
Well, unfortunately, my tenants who have been there in the front for like 6 years now, we had a falling out this summer. And in retaliation, they decided to call the city inspector on me. And they came out and there were some violations, which I've corrected all. And they found the 3rd unit and found in their paperwork that there wasn't a 3rd unit. And then they sent me a letter and I was frankly shocked when I got it. It's something, to be honest, I should have known, but I'm just kind of been so busy that I just never paid attention to it. So I just it never dawned on me that it wasn't legal.
Okay,
We get a lot of that.
a lot.
all the time.
Does it?
All
I
the-
feel better now.
No, it happens all the time.
mainly when the properties are transferred from person to person, when they don't, it's not always communicated that the building is not actually properly zoned or been, got a variance to become a three-family building. It happens a lot.
How many other rental units do you have?
Actually, this is the last one. My brother took some and then we sold the rest. So,
Thank you.
What are your plans for this? Are you gonna liquidate this one as well? Just curious.
unfortunately, I'm probably not going to, I say unfortunately because I'm a little tired as a landlord, but other than this glitch with this tenant, the tenants in there are good, and I mean, it's a good property, so.
Okay. All right. Board, any other questions or comments? Ms. Holzer, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing for me, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right.
For me either.
But
All
you can
right.
see we painted it. and
Yeah,
really
it's
nice.
attractive.
Actually, the house next to it, we used to own too, and we fixed that one up as well.
Yeah.
So
No,
it does look really nice from the outside. You can't even tell it's a 3-unit.
Yeah.
It's attractive.
Which is one of the requirements of
Right.
the legal requirements, so that's good.
So that's convenient, isn't it? Yes. All right. All right. I'll entertain a motion then.
Madam Chair, I move approval of having heard from the property owner that he purchased the home and thought it was a 3-unit and apparently has been used that way for years, seeing that it has livable area and parking. I move approval.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please?
Madam Chair, this is Board Member Wilson. I will second the motion.
Thank you. Ms. Kukla, could you call the vote?
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Bates.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-169 is granted. It'll be ratified next week. We'll send you a letter, but please feel free to contact us next Wednesday for a copy of that documentation.
All right, when you say contact, do you mean come down here or?
You can give us a call. If you have a hard copy. Yeah, you just come on down and you can take.
Oh, I
this
thought you were giving me a phone number or something.
I-
Just come down here,
Just come down to our office, 516, and,
516?
yeah.
Next Wednesday?
yep, and we'll be able to give you that.
At the end of the hall that way.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on to calendar number 23-172.
All right, our next case is calendar number 23-172. This is at 1295 West 54th Street. Glenn and Ida Mercer, owners, propose to erect an irregular shaped 3-story frame single-family residence with attached garage. The owners appeal for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. Anyone who wishes to testify in this matter, I will go ahead and swear you in. Please identify yourself and then say I do, state your name and your address. Do you swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Robert Maschke, architect for Glenn and Ida Mercer.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in this matter?
I do. Mary Jo Mazzarella, neighbor at 1306 West 54th Street.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, back to you, Madam Chair.
Councilmember Spencer has asked me to speak on this, on her behalf.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead and state your oath, please.
I do. My name is Joe Nasser. I'm sorry, I don't see the thing in front of me. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to
I
say.
know.
That was
It's-
my
here we
address.
go.
Just your
Okay,
name
yeah,
and address, Joe.
Thank you. I do. Joe Nasser, 601 Lakeside.
Perfect. And you are assistant to Councilman Spencer?
Yes,
Or
that's correct.
Councilperson Spencer? All right. And Robert, the architect, could you spell your last name, please?
Yes, it's Maschke, and my address is adjacent to the property, 1287 West 54th Street.
Great, we needed that as well. So we do have a court reporter. She is not present with us. She's virtual. But we need to make sure that all the names and addresses are recorded as part of that process. Okay,
My client is on this call if you'd like to swear them in, just in case they'd like to talk, but I don't think
I
they will.
think that would be a good idea.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, can you do the oath for the clients as well, please?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to administer the oath. Please reply with I do, your name and your address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Muted, Glenn.
Sorry, two different mute buttons. I do, Glenn Mercer, 3294 Enderby Road, Shaker Heights, Ohio, 44120.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think we have everyone. Great. History of the property.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zone since 1929. We didn't find anything in our Records Administration Office for this address. There are no variances on file and nothing of note in the more recent history. Thank you.
Thanks. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the attached garage requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zone.
Great, thank you. So Robert, you're going to be the spokesperson, are you?
Yes. Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, would you like to tell us about the project and speak specifically to the variances also that you need?
Yes, I will. We're only requesting one variance, and that is that the garage, which is set back from the street at 61 feet, remain. And I will get to that in a minute. This home is the third of 3 homes that have been designed and built by my firm. And it's the last of the 3. We developed this property starting in 2008. And we, by doing the other 2 homes, one to the north and one to the south, we have come before you both times needing multiple variances for height, area, very diligently to minimize all those variances. It's stated the house is 3-story, but it's only 2-story above ground. Most of the basement is subterranean, including most of the garage. The garage is only a walkout at the front. And the reason for that is it abuts the bike path where there was considerable investment by the community to put in that goes along the back of these 3 homes that connects to Edgewater. And we wanted to bury the garage as much as possible, so we did not abut and have a garage sticking out next to the bike path and creating more of an open space. I believe the code requires that the garage be set back in the rear half of the yard. When this development was first originally approved by the Planning Commission, that ordinance did not exist. This has been changed over the last couple of years. And by being an extremely deep lot, it makes it a little more punitive to us to set the garage back that far. The garage currently is slightly in front of the northern house garage. It's about 5 feet north of that, which is my home. And the garage is about 20 feet back from the southern home, which you see on the right in this picture in white. And it's sunken down about 10 feet, 10 to 12 feet from where their garage sits. And that garage is about 45 feet from the right of way. This particular garage is 61, but if we had to push it back to the letter of the ordinance, it would be 78.69 feet. So we're asking relief from that.
And I believe these are the houses that are by the Westinghouse curve on the Shoreway, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay, overlooking, I think the Edgewater Marina is right across.
You could see it at times when the leaves are down, and you can see in this photograph how the bike path has evolved and worked around that.
Right.
And I worked very hard with ODOT and the city when I purchased this land to help with the variance to allow that bike path to go behind these properties. I thought it was a great improvement for the community.
Yeah. When did you, because the first house went up quite some time ago, right?
It did. In 2008, I started trying to build on the lot, believe it or not, in 1998. But it took 8 years to assemble and purchase the land, most of which was owned by different departments in the city of Cleveland. And with Councilman Zone's help, he helped get us over the finish line on that. And then when we started to build the two houses, then we ran into the Great Recession in 2009, 10, 11. So subsequently, we've had some fits and starts, but we're now finally able to complete this.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Mercer, do you have anything to add?
I think Robert spelled it out very clearly. Thank you. But I just reiterating the point that the garage, if pushed back that far, would almost be a separate standalone structure out behind the house in the backyard, as it were.
Great, thank you. All right. And Ms. Mazzarella, you had comments?
Comments kind of clear perspective. So if I understand, does the driveway, Robert, do you have to go behind the house to enter the garage? I just don't understand that part.
No, you drive straight in the other two homes.
Just like the others?
Yes, but this garage is more concealed because it slopes down and it's mostly buried underground.
And then I want to bring up a couple of things. I'm glad that it'll match the other driveways then. The wording was confusing on the ordinance. It almost looked like you would have to drive around to enter.
No,
that's why I was confused.
Mary Jo, we're trying to minimize as much hardscape on the site. So if we pushed it back, there'd even be more driveway. We're trying to avoid that.
That helps. That's a clear. And then, some background and us, the neighbors and the property. Robert did get the land. We were working with Parkworks organization and we were trying to make a dedicated green space, which now seeing that the bike path runs along it would have been a really great. And we were meeting every Saturday morning. Parkworks was engaged, but unbeknownst to us, there was a deal going through. That's just some history on us and our involvement in the neighborhood. Now I'm like, wow, that would have been great dedicated green space with a path running through. And now there's houses being erected, which were neighbors. And I'm just wondering also, why skip the city planning process? I see on the second city planning approval is that skipping the process? I don't know.
No.
So there will be a city planning meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's just my concerns is that the land is full of moisture. Both Robert's home and Chuck's home have severe moisture damage. And it's built on a natural spring. And that was our first intention, to open up the natural spring and make it more of a public green space. But that's gone and he owns the property. So I'm not here to debate it. I just wanted to call to the attention that it is a very moisture. You can almost see it from that one screen where they show all the mud along each of the houses. I was just concerned over the building and worried about the driveway going around with this very moisture lot. Wanted to let the new owner know about that. He could see it from the two houses that have moisture damage. And just make sure that the process is not gonna be skipped, the city
No,
planning
no.
process. That was my.
Where are you in relation to these houses?
I'm right across the street. You see Stone? The
Yeah.
first house is my neighbor's. I'm the second house, no, over to, that, right there.
Right
And
there.
then my land, I have 4 lots surrounding that. My property goes all the way behind that house. So it's like an L-shaped
Okay,
property.
all right. Yeah, over the years, this project has had some press, so, yeah, so aware of that. Okay, Robert, did you want to respond to any of that?
The lot is on a slope, and when the bike path went in, there's French drains all along the bike path that have taken on all of the moisture in the land. The moisture you see on the buildings is because of the weather we get, depending on when you take a photograph. That has nothing to do with the soil conditions.
Okay. All right, so the French drains probably had a big impact on mitigating. Yeah, to some extent. Okay. All right, city planning?
Yes, Madam Chair, maybe you want to hear from the councilman's.
Oh, yes, thank you. Joe?
Hi,
Yeah, go ahead and make comment, please.
thank you. Yeah, so my name is Joe Nasser. I am the Ward 15 Executive Assistant to Councilmember Jenny Spencer. Councilmember Spencer is currently out of town, but she has submitted this letter of support to Secretary Kukla and has asked me to read it aloud on her behalf. So without further ado, dear Secretary Kukla, I am writing to express my support for the requested zoning variance for this innovative single-family home and investment in Ward 15. Specifically, the owner's appeal for relief from section 337.23682, which states that an attached garage shall be located on the rear half of the lot. The requested variance is necessary due to the unique topography of this parcel and its location alongside the Cleveland Lakefront Bikeway. Pushing the garage farther back would create excessive impervious surface on the site, would constrict the usage of green space, and would unearth the back of the garage from the hillside and situate it up against the heavily used bike path. Furthermore, the design complements the adjacent properties and is complementary to their setbacks. It is my understanding that neighbors are in support of the variance. I will be out of town on October 16th. However, I ask that this letter be read into the record as an indication of my strong support for the project and its requested variance. Best regards, Jenny Spencer, Ward 15 Council Member.
Great, thank you, Joseph. Okay.
Question. Just that one line, neighbors are in support of the variance. I was never contacted. We never had like a neighborhood meeting surrounding it. I'm just, that one line is just, and Jenny and I know each other and work together, but we never discussed it. The neighbors are in support of the variance. Maybe Robert and Chuck, who are on either side of the.
Yeah, not sure. Joseph, do you have any comment? Was there an actual public meeting?
I'm not sure. I was not particularly involved in this agenda item. I was simply asked to read this on her behalf, so I can't answer that.
Great. Well, you're here at a public meeting now. So, well, we've given you an opportunity to state your claims, and you may want to follow up with Councilwoman Spencer.
I will.
Okay. Okay. To you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maurice Rowland, City Planning. I have to agree with everything that Councilwoman Spencer wrote here in her letter for all the reasons to support this variance. It's a unique site. That I think pushing the garage back doesn't do any justice to the architecture, which is very unique on these buildings. And the fact that Mr. Maskey points out, that the garage is partially submerged. It's lower than the rest of the house. Pushing it further back requires then a lot more paved material, which I think is also a negative in this respect. It is pushed back from the front of the house. And, whenever we are asking for, or whenever someone's asking for a front-loaded garage, we like to try to have them minimize it as much as possible so the view isn't, like predominantly the garage. And I think Mr. Mashke's done a great job of that here by having it lower, pushed it back from the other facade at the front of the building. So I 100% recommend it.
Thank you, Mr. Billings. Okay, board, any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Ms. Wilson, Ms. Holzer, would you like to take this one? Apparently not.
Board Member Wilson, I would move to approve based on the testimony that we've heard before us.
Okay, I'll take a second, please.
Member Brown, I second.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kukla, if you call the vote.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Bate.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-172 is granted.
Thank you for
It'll
coming
be
in.
ratified next Monday. We will send you a letter. And please contact our office next Wednesday to get the documentation and find out what the next steps are. Thank you.
Thank you for the clear understanding, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
We're always pleased
I'm
when we
Norma
have.
Ray of the neighborhood.
Pardon?
I'm Norma Ray of the neighborhood.
That's okay.
No, I'm happy that it's not circling around. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
All right, and finally, we have calendar number 23-153, Ms. Holzer.
Sure thing. Our last case is calendar number 23-153. This is at 3050 Nursery Avenue. Elizabeth Hallman, owner, proposes to expand an existing type B daycare to a type A daycare in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. This case was postponed from September 11th to allow time for the appellant to respond to the res judicata. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I am calling on everyone who is going to speak in this matter. Please be prepared to respond to the oath. If we can have that placed on the screen, please.
Can you help us advance the screen?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you can? Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you so much. Okay, so anyone who's going to speak, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please reply with I do, your name, and your address.
I do. Elizabeth Holloman, 3050 Nursery, Cleveland, Ohio, 44127. What's the problem? I'm sorry.
Anyone else wish to speak in this matter? Okay, back to you, Madam Chair.
No, Marilyn, you're muted.
Marilyn, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, Marilyn, I didn't see your hand raised.
That's okay.
There we go.
We go.
Okay, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Marilyn Moshinsky, Slavic Village Development, 5620 Broadway Avenue.
Marilyn, can you spell your last name, please?
Sure, it's Mosinski.
Perfect. All right, is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter? Okay, back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We've had history, right?
Well, Madam Chair, I'm
Previously?
not sure if Ms. Brown was.
You know, yeah, let's, for the benefit of Ms. Brown.
There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1898, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling addition. 1925, a permit was issued to erect a garage. But the most pertinent information is in calendar number 18-157. and this was ratified on August 6, 2018. This board denied a variance to establish use, noted that the house to the north is very close to the subject property, and reiterated that the code requires a 30-foot distance from any adjoining premises. Board members expressed their concern about allowing a business in such a dense residential district. They suggested that the appellant consider establishing a type B daycare, which allows no more than 6 kids instead, and does not require a variance. And therefore, the variance was denied. The present board members were Johnson, Brett, Bailey, and Barnes, and Donovan was absent at that time. Thank you.
All right. So, legal standard, please.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, Helen is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. This case is a refiling of an appeal that the board decided and denied in 2018. So there's a hurdle that has to be cleared before we get to the regular stuff. According to Rule 13 of the Board of Zoning Appeals Rules and Regulations, the board must dismiss the refiling of the appeal as res judicata unless the appellant can show a basis that would prevent the application of res judicata, which may include changed circumstances, substantial new relevant evidence that was not available at the hearing on the prior appeal, or that the application of res judicata would create manifest injustice. Additionally, the board may dismiss the appeal if the applicant fails to submit documentation demonstrating a basis that prevents the application of res judicata within 30 days of the date when the secretary mailed the notice. And in this case, that date was September 8th, 2023.
Okay. So first order of business is or what we need to do is the dismissal of res judicata. Should we deem that dismissible? Correct?
Yes.
All right. All right, Miss, is it Holloman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as you probably know by now, there was an appeal for a variance in 2018 that was denied.
Yes.
Did you own the house at that point?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And when I filed for the variance, I wasn't running a daycare at all. So I really didn't have much proof or anything. And I know that the house to the north, as you all say, is very close, but my house goes back further than that house. And in the middle it's a space in the middle of the houses. And I want to be able to have 8 kids. I submitted pictures of the inside of the house because I have more than enough space for the inside of the house. That's old. Yeah. Let me see. No, yeah, I submitted pictures. No, that's the one I drew. Yeah. I submitted pictures of the inside of the house online.
Did we receive those?
Madam Chair, I don't believe I have any. Did you submit them to somebody in my office, or was it through the building and housing portal?
Yeah, I submitted it online through the portal.
So
we don't have.
Yeah, Madam Chair, we don't usually go back into once we receive the application, we assume that any communication would be between us and the applicant. So we never received any of those.
All right.
Photos.
Okay, so we don't have the photos of that. Have there been any other significant changes?
Such as? Because
have
when
you changed the interior layout? Is there?
Yeah, yes. So when I submitted in 2018, I only had on there that the space used would be just the front room and the living room. But since then, I have expanded from the front room, the living room, the side room, and the back room, which are all, and it's a side room off the living room, that which are all. I mean, I think it's enough space for at least 8 children.
How many do you have? How many do you have now? Are you at 5 or less?
Right now I'm allowed to have 6, and right now I do have 6 enrolled. There's a school across the street, and I will want to enroll at least 2 school agers. Because as you know, when school agers go back to school, then your income changes. So that's another reason. And I'm 3-star rated, and I used to be able to take the kids out for like more. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. More things that we did, but you know, like recently, I haven't been able to do that, and but I want to be a type A, because you know I feel like I work just as hard as them, and I'm 3 stars, and I'm furthering my education, early childhood education. And you have centers and type A's that's not star rated, and you know that's in the, you know, and I'm not able to do the things that I want to do on my salary.
Okay, all right.
Madam Chair, regarding the square footage to be used.
Yeah.
Here, the dark outlined is from the previous case. The lighter outlined drawing is for this case. I don't, it's hard to tell if it is actually more square footage.
I think we kind of need to look at this one first.
And if you'd like, I could go print out those photos from the portal. If you'd like me to do that, I can.
Can you quickly?
What?
Or do you need it?
I don't know what I need. I mean, have we responded to the race judicata?
No.
I don't know what.
No, we're not getting.
What's required for that?
You could,
We're not getting any new
it sounds
information.
like she's saying her substantially changed circumstances are more space and now a history of having had 6 kids,
Right.
that having operated it for a number of years.
Right. So I'm taking her statement that she's expanded the areas of use as potentially a reason.
Madam Chair, would it help to have testimony from the Development Corporation?
Yeah, I think, Marilyn, if you want to go ahead and make your comment, we're waiting for Ms. Kukla to get some photos, but I think this is a good time to hear from you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I know our prior executive director had talked to her. I was looking through his notes, and he was concerned about putting 2 more children into the house, into that area. We haven't worked with her. I know even Councilman Starr hasn't talked to her at all. So, you know, we're looking to you for advice on this. I'd prefer if we could do a withdrawal, and maybe we could sit down with Ms. Holloman now and kind of figure out what's going on so that we can give a better presentation for her than whatever's going on here. But, you know, right now I'm not in support of it, but I'm not in denial of it. I just don't know if that housing, so I have a question then also on this whole thing too, is if we okay this, can she go above 8 children on this house, or would that be the max she could do?
All right, so first of all, your comments as to the fact that the Councilman Starr has indicated there hasn't been any communication between Ms. Holloman and him, is that correct?
Correct.
And there has been none between her and the CDC.
Well, with our prior director, I think she talked to him a while back, but I was looking through the notes and he was still not convinced that upping this into more beds was the best use for this house.
All right. Okay. So that kind of, I think it sounds to me like you would like to be point person, perhaps, and
Or someone in our staff too, also.
yes, and coordinate with Ms. Holloman the community engagement that's necessary that we typically like to see in these sorts of situations, and also conversation with the councilman.
Yes.
So, so Ms. Holloman, are you understanding we'd like to have you connect with Marilyn from the CDC? She will assist you in contacting the councilman and also seeking any kind of community engagement and help you put together a more detailed presentation so that you can come back before us with the appropriate information that we need to be able to make a decision for you. So we'd like to go ahead. We'd like to go ahead and postpone this for you.
Yeah. What is what is the appropriate information that I would need?
Well, you first of all, we have to address this res judicata that dates back to 2018 when you were seeking a variance at that point. And so there needs to be significant changes or other information for us to, number one, be able to address that before we could move on to any variance.
Okay,
and the Marilyn from the CDC is willing to work with you, so it would be probably much to your benefit to take advantage of that offer.
Okay, Marilyn from the CDC.
Correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, the comments that the applicant made, it seems that one of the changes could be that she is proposing more square footage.
Right.
She can show us somehow the difference between what was applied last time. The drawings are not very clear from what I can tell.
Right.
Otherwise, the distance from the building is going to remain the same.
Yeah, the distance from the other building is going to remain the same.
I mean, it is up to the board if we want to even really send her out to the community if there really is no.
Yeah.
But again, it's up to you, of course, if we want more detail on this.
All right. Ms. Holloman, have you, because what we're trying to determine here is if you've, as a point of change that might be probably the only reason that we could handle or dismiss the res judicata is a change of space. And we're not seeing a dramatic change in your drawings. So has there been a dramatic change?
I'm sorry, are you saying like a dramatic change outside, or are you saying a dramatic change on the inside?
On the inside, because your distance between the neighboring house isn't going to change unless that house, for some reason, disappears.
Right.
So,
right. It's been empty for 2 years, but I don't know. So yes, like I said, the space that I initially in 2018 submitted, I only submitted the front room and the living room as what I was using for childcare. Since I've been in operation, I have seen that I could use the side room. I've been able to, come up with a more open floor plan for the children. So now I do have the infants separated in another room from all the other kids. It's like I said, I'm using the side room, so it's a lot more space. And I did submit pictures of that, and I know you say you don't have them.
And we captured them now.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay. Board, any questions or comments? For those of you that, for Ms. Wilson and Ms. Holzer, we have photos, but we're not able to, obviously, you're not going to be able to see them.
Madam Chair, did the appellant state what is happening on the second floor? Is that also to be used, or is that living?
Ms. Holloman? What is your use on the second floor?
I live up there.
She's still with us? Oh, you live up there? Okay.
Yes.
That's your living quarters? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, board, how would you like to move forward?
Well, the question that I have, it appears that when the board made its decision, it was about the distance to the next house, about running a business.
Right.
And so that issue still it exists. So the question there, I think, is about Ms. Holloman talking to the councilman and the Slavic Village CDC and her neighbor, right, about the existence of expanding the business and how that is received. And I also think, safety concerns too for children.
Right.
Yeah, so the house has been empty for going on 2 years now, and I have called the owner of the house. I have looked it up, and no one's gotten back to me. I've been trying to look into possibly purchasing the property because it's just been sitting there since my neighbor passed away, and yeah, so like I said, so the house, we're looking at the house from the front of the house, and yes, it does sit close if you're looking at it from the front, but there's space in between our houses, and that's where their kitchen sits, and I too am thinking about the safety of the children, and I wouldn't take on more than I could handle at one time. So, I know it's unfortunate that my house sits at, I could take on 2 more children, and it would be a safety issue.
So that's another changed circumstance now. There's nobody living in the house that's too close.
Right.
And any new person coming in, she would already be there, so they would know what they're moving in,
Right.
Good point.
Take that into
Right.
consideration when they make the decision to move there.
Exactly.
That's a good point there.
So we have at least a couple of things, a couple of points.
Yeah, and now she has a track record, which I
Right.
don't think she did before.
So I think there's enough information. I think so, but I want her to go. Are you feeling that way?
Yeah, they need to come back.
Yeah. All right. Ms. Holloman, we're gonna postpone your case. We're gonna have you work with the CDC and pull your presentation together. And we'll give you a date.
Are we thinking 30 days or 60 days?
I think probably 60 days.
All right, then we're looking at December 18th. December 11th would be a little less than 60 days. December 4th is.
Marilyn, we're looking at December 11th.
Yeah, that should
Is that
be fine.
adequate?
That should,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. All right. So calendar number 23-153 is postponed to December 11th. And that is for the purposes of the appellant meeting with the CDC
And the councilman.
and the councilman. All right. Ms. Holloman, you need to be in touch with Marilyn at the Slavic Village CDC.
Okay.
Marilyn, perhaps you can put your contact info in the chat
Mhm.
for her to capture. Ms. Holloman, you're gonna need to look at the chat box. And you will have contact information there that you'll need to capture so you can get in touch with her. All right?
Okay, where is the chat box?
What is the chat box?
I'm filling it in right now, so it should pop up on your screen. It'll pop up, you should see a little chat box that comes up. I just shared my contact information.
Oh, let me see what this participant.
If
I
you
see
click on your
chat.
name next on the right, it should come up there.
Click on my name.
Mm-hmm.
I see it now. Okay.
Okay, you need to capture that information, so either write it down with pen and paper or take a picture of it with your phone. So you have it, because we're gonna move on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.
That concludes new business for today.
In your folder.
Oh, I didn't even.
It's like I gave you the old business.
There we go. I'll give you that one back, since I have my.
You have one, Ms. Brown, or no? Do you see-
Yes, I have one, thank you.
All right. So we have, in old business, excuse me, we have, number 1 and number 5. Without objection, board?
And
Without
number
objection.
one-
Without objection.
Okay. Ms. Brown?
No objection.
All right.
I don't even know what it is.
I would just read that number 1 is regarding, it's up on the screen. Calendar number 23-164 at 9511 Steinway Avenue. And that one was heard
That's
last
sweet.
week. And then the other one you see is calendar number 23-156 at 2020 Follett Court. That one was heard on September 25th. And it was postponed to allow time for the appellant to meet with the community.
All right.
And we've received those notes back.
And that's happened. Okay. What was the date on that one again?
September 25th was the original date. I believe.
Great. All right, and I don't see anything else. Anything else other?
Nope.
All right. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, you
everybody.
too. All right, I'm gonna leave that one. This one.